Oh, hello and welcome.
Hello.
It's been 1 year since our very first cruise.
Yes.
So in this video, we're going to share with you what we learned over the year and our 5 cruises.
5.
And we're going to share our hints and tips.
I think we liked it if we went on 5.
Well, I'm Marcus.
I'm Mel.
And we're from
Fly Drive Explore.
You got it right that time.
Oh dear.
So before we get started,
Yes.
I think we need some background ambient sea sounds like this. So where did it all start?
I don't know.
It was last May bank holiday when we took our first cruise, the 4-nighter
Yep.
on P&O Aurora. So why?
Why? Well, I think we've wanted a cruise for a long time, haven't we? But we were a bit afraid of feeling seasick, one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Marcus especially.
I'm a really bad traveller. I got seasick in a boat simulator on land.
Yes.
And-
You said you felt sick in a lift once.
And a lift.
Okay.
So we were worried about that. But we had been watching a lot of YouTube cruise vloggers.
Yeah.
So we were walking past the local travel agent and they had the P&O Aurora Northern Europe 4 days. And we thought that'll be a good taster.
Starter, yeah. Because we thought a little taster cruise is always a good idea, isn't it? I think if you're not sure if you're going to like cruising.
So we booked 4 nights at short notice, P&O Aurora up to Bruges and over to Guernsey. Well, back to the beginning, the P&O
At the very beginning.
P&O Aurora.
Yes.
Quite excited,
Yeah.
but we didn't know what to expect at all.
We were very nervous.
Even though we've been, we travel a lot.
We travel around the world.
We did feel like a fish out of water
You did,
with the
especially.
terminology, which they use a lot on ships, I've noticed. They don't use it on other
On planes
modes of
much, do
transport.
they?
Yeah, there's technical terms, but they don't use them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what was the muster drill. What's that?
Yeah,
So I'm not really
things
sure.
like that. And when you do go online to look, a lot of people use jargon, MDRs, aft,
Yeah, I didn't know.
and all these things.
And MDR's just a main dining room.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it's not really a main dining room. It's more than one main dining room on P&O.
Yeah,
It's
so
multiple dining rooms that are all served the same food.
it sounds
Those-
silly, but when
I
you've
know.
never done it before, it's a bit
know.
odd. Like a muster drill,
what's a
how
muster
do you
drill?
board? What happens with your bags and things like that?
There's so much to take in. So don't feel overwhelmed. Try not to feel so overwhelmed. A little bit of preparation does help, but it just takes time. Just
And some of the
settle in.
Facebook groups, some of the groups are really helpful. We'll get onto this a bit later, but some
I'm not so good.
are really odd. Usually find the people with the biggest mouths are the weirdest on those groups. But later on, we found some good groups, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that was our first experience. P&O Aurora, quite a small ship compared to most these days.
How many? About 1,800 people on board?
Yeah, and
We liked the ship.
We enjoyed it. The cabin was a bit small, but not too bad. And the
We had a balcony cabin.
Yeah.
Quite traditional inside. The only letdown with the actual cabin I thought was the bathroom, which was definitely needs a refurbishment. It was worse than a Travelodge bathroom. It's quite old fashioned.
but we really enjoyed the
But the
experience.
actual room itself was nice, and I liked the cruise ship.
And what we found out, which we'll get on again later, is compared to, especially since the pandemic, the value for money you get with cruising compared to other holidays.
Yes, definitely.
So we enjoyed it. P&O Aurora, 4 nights, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I stand corrected. We were meant to be going to France, but that was cancelled
And we
because it was
ended up-
May Day and the French were on strike.
We ended up in
And we ended up in
Guernsey.
Guernsey, and we had a nice day in Guernsey.
That was the first time we had
So-
a tender port as
Yeah,
well.
so that was our very first cruise. By the way, I'll link all these. We have got videos of our experiences, and I'll link those below and put some at the end too.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Let Mel talk. That was the first time we went on a tender port. Do you remember that little boat?
Yeah. I wasn't so keen on that.
So basically, when the ship docks outside of the main port, and there's a little like lifeboat takes you into the port. Yeah, can be a bit bumpy.
Yeah.
Take travel tablets if you're not sure. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, another tip: take travel tablets, and before you feel seasick. Before you feel sick. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I just went.
That was P&O Aurora. So because of that, we booked, well, Mel surprised me with a 7-day cruise to the fjords with P&O Britannia.
Yes, thanks for a tax rebate.
The tax man could be watching. Every next time.
That was legitimate.
But we went with P&O Britannia because we're used to it with P&O. And again, the price was good. And it was a bigger ship, wasn't it?
Bigger ship, yes. How big is the Britannia about?
I don't know. Don't ask me questions like that. It was a bigger ship. And that was a 7-day cruise. So because we enjoyed the first one, obviously, we tried a longer cruise. Again, we had a balcony cabin.
We did. It was nice having a balcony again.
The weather wasn't great. We went in June, didn't we? The weather wasn't great. We had a really heavy rain in Oldham.
Definitely worth getting a balcony, I think, for the fjords.
Yeah.
Because you can see some lovely scenery, beautiful scenery. Waterfalls on the side of the...
We have tried a few different types of cabin, and we'll discuss that again as we go through our cruises. So, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
despite the weather.
Wasn't it? I didn't mind Britannia as a ship. But of all the ships I've been on, it's one of my least favourite, I think. It's got a slightly strange layout.
The layout was odd.
How can you explain that?
As in, there was no central staircase to all floors. You have to go to one end, the front or the back.
Yeah, I mean,
to get to certain bits is just a bit. But saying that, like, it's how quickly you get into these little routines and it's like if you'd never been on a cruise before and you went on that, you would have really enjoyed it, you know.
Picky there.
Yeah, so we had a cabin quite high up.
There was a bit of vibration.
Yeah.
Now this is, I think, if you do have a high up cabin, sometimes you get that, and I don't know if it's to do with the.
Obviously, there's more movement high up.
The sea state, or it's to do with where you are on the ship. But high up, we found that there was quite a lot of vibration, wasn't there, on Britannia?
Going back to Aurora, we were below the buffet, and that was a bit noisy early in the morning. You could hear them as if they were wheeling out,
dragging chairs
or carts or something.
Oh, we could smell food, couldn't we?
It smelled like chips.
Chips.
Which isn't a bad thing, is it?
Not being Welsh.
So that was P&O Britannia, second cruise. And on the way back to Southampton, by the way, both of these left from Southampton. On the way back, we decided to book the P&O Arvia for October transatlantic.
And when you book on the ship, you do get a little bit of a better rate, don't you? You generally the price is about the same, but you usually get extra onboard credit. And we had a decent amount of onboard credit, didn't we?
That's one thing. Go back and have a think about it, because we went initially and the girl who was helping us wasn't very good. I went back about 2 hours later with another question and got somebody else, and she was really good and really helpful, and she managed to get us flights from Bournemouth.
I didn't even know there was an airport in Bournemouth.
Yeah, return flights to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And should we discuss P&O Arvia now?
Yeah, okay then.
So, obviously we tend to avoid school holidays because
we haven't got school-age kids anymore.
Yeah, and we can. And obviously the ships are more crowded. So if you can avoid school holidays, I would recommend that, because I've seen videos of when the kids are on board.
Can I say something? You know Aurora? Was that adult only?
Yeah.
So Aurora was adult only, and I think the other
Britannia
ship.
wasn't and Arvia wasn't.
The other P&O ship that's added only is
Arcadia.
Arcadia, but we haven't been on that one yet. But the other P&O ships are families and, you know, not adult only.
Yeah. So going back to
Arvia.
So
Our favourite ship so far. Do you think?
That was, how many nights was that? 15 nights.
Yeah, it was great.
Crossing Southampton on the repositioning cruise to the Caribbean.
Yeah. There's a lot of sea days.
The travel tablets work, so take them, because the Bay of Biscay was quite rough. And I was fine. And a lot of people were sick. I found out. I was talking to somebody who'd spent the first 3 days in the cabin. So
just take tablets.
Yeah, and like I said, I am a really bad traveller.
And they're cheap if you buy them before you get on the ship, but they will give you them on the ship. And you may have to pay for them. I think you can go to reception and get some. However, they can also give you an injection, which is quite expensive, in the medical centre. £60 or whatever plus, I think. So if you are desperate, there is that option there. But we love the sea days, didn't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
That's what we found out. We were concerned it was going to be boring. No, we love sea days.
But what do you love about sea days?
Sleeping.
And what do I love about sea days?
Activities.
There you go. So we're quite different in that respect. I participated in Zumba, line dancing, I did a choir, and all that was really great fun. And then we also did quizzes, didn't we? We did a lot of quizzes together. We're good. I was going to say we're good at quizzes. We can be good at quizzes, especially 80s music.
If we get the right niche.
And food and drink, things like that, films. So so we did quite a lot of quizzes, didn't we?
And this is where
a
Facebook group was good, because we met people. We had a meet-up
on the Facebook,
in the Crow's Nest. That's the main bar. And so when you got on, it felt like a community already.
Yeah.
And because we were going across the Atlantic, it did feel like an adventure.
It did. And I think the transatlantic cruises do feel more of a community, because obviously when you're doing a lot
it's like a one-off as well, isn't it? They only do it once there.
October time.
And then back in March
time, to the Caribbean. It does feel more of a community, because obviously when you've got a lot of ports, you're off every day. Or some of you are, you don't have to be off every day, but you go off the ship all the time. So you're not with the same people.
Yeah, what you think, you're stuck on board with the same people. Luckily, we got on with the people we were stuck on board with.
Yeah.
What did Billy Connolly say why he did want to go cruising? He says, it's prison with a chance of drowning.
Oh, great. Well, anyway, so we made some great friends there.
Yeah.
On that one.
It was good.
I loved the choir. It was over Halloween.
Oh yeah, my birthday. I knew there was something.
And we dressed up, didn't we? We dressed up as vampires.
I zoned out there, didn't I?
Load of us dressed up for Halloween with different costumes. So that was great fun. And where did we go on your birthday? We went to a vegetarian restaurant.
Yeah, dressed as vampires.
Green
Again,
and Co.
If you want to see what happened, I'll link the videos below.
Yeah, Green and Co on there is one of the best restaurants I've been to on a ship. It's a vegetarian and vegan restaurant.
Let's have a look at some notes.
And it's amazing.
I think we're rambling now. Let's look back at our notes.
No, that was what I was going to say. Why are we rambling? What do you want to say, Marcus? Just say what you want to say and I'll say what I want to say.
I need my notes. I told you I needed my notes.
I never said you didn't need your notes.
Excursions. Going back to when we were on Britannia, the cruise lines, not just P&O, all of them, they try and scare you into booking their excursions, saying you're going to be left behind and all this nonsense. But in many places, you don't need to
go through the cruise line.
It's easy to get into town or into the place where you are because it's quite central. Or you can book an excursion that's maybe a few hours and you're back with plenty of time. With hours to spare.
Now,
so don't get too scared by we're going to leave you behind and all this nonsense.
They say we could leave you behind, and if you're booking excursions through the cruise line, they're more guaranteed. But if you're only booking a morning cruise line, a morning excursion, and you're back at 1 or 2 o'clock.
And where are you going? Are you going hundreds of miles away or just 10 miles down the road and things like that? And with P&O, you get the number of the ports. So if there is a problem, in the unlikely event there is a problem, ring them up and they will wait for you if it's if they've heard from you and you're not going to be that long. So don't worry about that. Have a
So
look
much.
and book.
I mean, people have got left behind. I see that more in the American ships.
Normally because they get drunk in bars and nothing happens.
Like Carnival or something like that.
So,
but just use your common sense.
and also,
be back in time.
Getting back to the Facebook groups, sometimes a few of you can work together and get like a private tour in a minibus or something like that, where it's far cheaper than going through the cruise line, and sometimes you're on a big, maybe 40 or 50
Yeah,
coach
and we've done that a
there.
couple of times, haven't we? It's been good.
Drinks packages. We haven't had a drinks package at any cruise we've done so far.
No.
Some of them are quite expensive, but the main drawback is both people in the cabin have to have them.
the drinks package.
So Mel doesn't drink much.
No, I do like a drink, but I don't drink as much as Marcus. Let's put it like that.
And obviously, if you're going to a lot of ports, are you going to be not going to be even drinking on the ship that day?
No, not until
So
the evening.
I feel, and we've costed it, we've never drank more in a day than a drinks package would have been for that day.
The only time I think perhaps we could have had it, if we'd had a deal on, was with Princess, because the drinks were really
we'll
expensive.
be getting onto that. The American, they're not American-based or American product, as opposed to the P&O British product. Internet packages.
We've never had internet package.
No, again, I would like to have one, but I did enjoy being completely cut off for a few days.
I did
What
as well.
we did, we could use a data import.
Yeah, on our
And
mobile
it's-
phones.
We bought it every sort of couple of
Couple of
days just to
days.
check in.
Yeah,
If there's an offer on, I'll definitely get it, but it's quite enjoyable not to have the internet.
and often the internet's like £15.
And for some people say, why are you on the internet at all?
Well, we both work from home.
Yeah, a lot of
so-
people have to be in contact with people and work
Yeah,
from
and
home.
a lot of people are not retired. We're not retired.
Yeah, we're not retired, so we still have to work now and again. So, but we haven't had the internet packages are good. But the main thing we've noticed since Starlink, the internet connections have been very good.
They have been quite fast because you've uploaded videos
Yeah.
on there as well, haven't you? So
So that was Arvia. Then in December, we went on to MSC. Dun dun dun. So before we get on to MSC, some people are very loyal to certain cruise lines, and certain cruise lines aren't for everyone. So just because somebody likes a cruise line, it doesn't mean you're going to like it, and vice versa. And that was our experience with MSC. We didn't like it at all. It was a brand new ship, MSC Euribia.
I like the food.
The ship looked very nice. Our first impression when we got on was very good, but the whole experience wasn't for us.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Basically, they put too many people on that cruise ship. It was a winter cruise. You couldn't really go outside, and because it was around Bruges and no, what was it?
Northern Europe, yeah.
Basically. So all the sort of main areas were packed. There wasn't enough bars, really, for the amount of people, and the organisation and the customer service was not very good at all. We went on an excursion, it was awful, and that was through MSC. And I had food poisoning. I haven't had food poisoning in 30 years.
Yeah, but some people had a really
Even
good
though
time.
I enjoyed the food, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the food, I did. But I was really sick.
But some people love
And they
it.
didn't wait a minute, I want to talk about this. And they didn't charge me in the medical centre. And I heard other people were sick on the same ship and they were on a drip. So, because they actually spoke to me, they rang me up and spoke to me and said, can I speak to you about this? Because I said, because I was in a group and a lot of people were sick. So I don't know what was going on. Because why would they not charge me unless they're saying it's their responsibility?
But-
I hadn't even been off the ship
But
the day before
saying
that.
that,
Anyway,
some
sorry.
people really enjoyed that cruise, and I wouldn't say to anybody, don't try an MSC cruise. Some people love it. Don't take our opinion or one blogger's opinion. You know,
I would go on MSC, I think, if it was a newer ship
That was a new ship.
And no, what I mean is, if it was more in the Caribbean, you can go outside.
Yeah.
You're not crammed into a small area. The buffet, do you remember the buffet? That one day was horrendous. I have never seen a buffet so busy. And we've been on Arvia, and it's got more people on Arvia than on that MSC ship.
So I wonder what would have happened if that was our first cruise.
Would you have put us off?
I know, would that put us off? But saying that, some people have had really good experience with MSC. They are the cheaper end of the market, and the yacht club is meant to be good as well.
Yacht club's supposed to be good value for money, the sort of higher level.
So if you are booked on MSC or think of going to MSC, give it a try. What happened with us? Unfortunately, we had one thing go wrong, then another thing go wrong, then something else go wrong, and you know, so it wasn't just one thing.
Yeah,
there's a series of things,
and everything was handled badly.
By the way, the staff we meet on every ship, the day-to-day
staff have been amazing.
Are excellent. They work really hard. They're really friendly, from the cabin steward to the waiters to the bar staff. Excellent. What I've noticed on nearly every cruise line, from MSC to Princess, when you go further up the management levels, they're not as good. You don't get the you ask for something, it's not done, and things like that. But the bottom end,
you really have to watch the MSC video to make a decision for yourself, because you might say, oh, they didn't do that, you didn't like this, you didn't like that. Look at our MSC video, make your own mind up, okay? There we are.
Yeah, we had
Sorry.
nothing.
I can't.
And if you look at the videos, we tend not to do bad, negative videos.
You have a bit of a moan. We all have a bit of a moan.
Yeah.
Him especially. But we wouldn't say any cruise line or anything is awful. You know, go on it yourself, make your own mind up.
We
could go back on it again and have a totally different experience.
We had quite a lot of abuse, not abuse, people that just don't, blind loyalty. Like, we like P&O, but we understand people don't like P&O.
And I don't think the food's best in P&O.
Yeah, the food on the main dining room is the best.
Hasn't been the best when I've been on it.
Anyway,
we like P&O. Anyway, carry on.
We're digressing. Make up your own mind. Don't follow. Look at the influencers and the YouTubers on TV, but
half the time when you see a headline, half the time it's a clickbait.
Yeah,
ours isn't clickbait. Look at it.
A lot of them say
our MSC one isn't clickbait.
The most controversial cabin, the worst cabin, the worst thing. And when you watch them, they're quite fair and balanced.
Yeah,
they're not really like that. But
our MSC one is a good full laugh. Have a look.
Okay, so we move on to that was cruise number
3.
Was it 3? No, it's cruise number 4.
You missed one.
Aurora.
Yeah.
Very professional. Aurora. Britannia.
Yeah.
Arvia.
3.
And MSC.
Oh, MSC. Sorry, it's 4.
Can't get a star.
I thought you meant. Okay.
And then that's going on to this year, start of the year, Sun Princess. Our first time with
Cruises.
Our third cruise line, Sun Princess. And it turned out to be the maiden voyage. It wasn't meant to be.
No.
It was meant to be the third. We didn't purposely book a maiden voyage.
The third voyage, and it's a Mediterranean cruise. Our first fly cruise from Rome, around the Med, and coming back to
Barcelona.
So, fly cruise. What do you think of a fly cruise?
Well, first of all, I was glad it was actually going.
Oh, saying that, we did fly back from Barbados, didn't we? On Arvia?
Yeah. I was glad we actually got on the ship, because the first one was cancelled 2 weeks prior to departure.
Yeah.
The one before ours was like something like
5 days,
less than 4 days before. Imagine that. People were actually in Rome waiting to go, and they cancelled it. Luckily, ours went ahead, and it was a really good cruise, wasn't it?
It was a nice ship, but the ship wasn't ready.
The ship, wasn't ready. A couple of the restaurants were out of action.
The entertainment,
the main entertainment venue was out of action. But the good thing, they upgraded us to the best room. Have a look at this room. Mm-hmm. This was the Sun Princess room. We were upgraded. We only paid for an ocean view cabin, and this is what we got. And look at the size of that compared to our first cruise in Aurora.
It was an accessible balcony cabin, wasn't it, we had in the end. And that's why it's so wide and so big. We didn't realise it was accessible at first until we went into the bathroom and then we saw there's like a seat in there.
Yeah, we didn't request it.
No.
It was put us in there. When you're looking, don't get caught up in going on a new ship if you're new to cruising, because as the MSC Euribia, which is only 6 months old, and this one, it wasn't ready. Even though it was brand new, nothing's been touched or anything. I think we had a better time on Arvia.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's been out over a year.
We may not have had such a good time on Arvia if we'd gone on in the first couple of months, because I know there was issues with Arvia at the beginning as well. But yes, so some princess cruises. What I liked the food. The food in the main dining room was better than P&O.
Yeah, it's a more expensive cruise line, and
even though it didn't cost us that much more.
No.
But
the quality of food was good.
The quality of food was much better.
But saying that, on P&O, especially Arvia, going back to Arvia, there's quite a few choices of where to eat included in the price.
Like the Fifth Street Dine and the Mediterranean restaurant as well. That's included in price, so you don't have to pay extra for. And
what we found in our first year cruising with P&O, when you go to a specialist dining restaurant, specialty dining, P&O just charge a few pounds more.
Yes.
Whereas on MSC and Sun Princess, it's like paying outright for a new, not a top up.
No.
In lots of them, you're paying £40 or £50 per person.
Yeah.
So that was our 5 we've done so far. So
wait a minute. So I wanted to say, what did you like about Princess? Staff were good.
It was understated but stylish.
Yeah.
It wasn't very flash. It didn't have any big feature pieces or like the crystal staircase you get in MSC and all that. It was quite understated in design.
Staff were very good.
And obviously it wasn't as crowded. It was a big ship.
Yeah.
But it was like 4,000, 3,500 people, 4,000, as opposed to like 5,500, 6,000 people.
And you couldn't really go outside that much. You could, but it wasn't. The weather wasn't brilliant, was it? So you still were inside. It didn't feel as crowded.
I'll definitely do Princess again.
Definitely. So let's go back over what we learned and things that we would recommend people do.
Yeah. So again, going back to the start, watch YouTube and look at Facebook. But
sometimes take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, make your own mind up. And if you're not sure of a cruise line, try a short cruise.
Yeah.
You know, a 3 or 4 day if they got one. Again, leading on to that, don't worry about those controversial rooms and those clickbaity titles. I would just go whatever you can afford.
Yeah, just go with what you afford. I mean, we've been on
like in
MSC
we did try an inside cabin, which didn't bother us that much, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't rush to do an inside cabin.
Yeah,
I liked having the daylight of it.
I didn't like it, but
I didn't like it as much as a balcony. If you can afford a balcony, it's always nice.
I think,
but
it didn't affect our cruise on MSC, to be honest. It was in the winter. I don't think I would like an inside cabin in the Caribbean or somewhere like that.
Yeah, but that's what you
can
afford.
If you're doing Northern Europe, but if that's all you can afford, go for it. The other things now, main dining room. I find the main dining room on the first day, even on Sun Princess, busy. So if you can go to a different dining room, maybe one of the other included ones, or even a specialty dining room, go do that.
Because it'll be quieter.
And the same goes for the buffet on the first morning,
or
the first sea day. Avoid that if you can. Go to the main dining room, or again go to a smaller venue if you have the option.
Because it's so busy, basically.
Well, after saying how bad some of the Facebook groups
I
are,
don't think they're bad.
And how many weirdos
He's
are
not
in them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
How many weirdos there are in them. A lot of them are really good.
They're very informative.
What's good,
especially if you haven't been on that cruise line before, I find.
And what's good is a Facebook group for that specific cruise you're on, not just the line, the actual dates you go in. Most cruises, there is a Facebook group for the dates
just
or the trip you do.
Facebook.
And then when you get on, you can meet people, or they may have a drinks reception, and you get hints and tips yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely go look for the Facebook groups. And if you don't like them, they're a bit weird, just go to another one. So, another thing we've learned, be flexible.
You may book a cruise for a certain port. Like a lot of people wanted to go to Santorini in the Sun Princess, but it was cancelled. So you have to think, okay, it would be great to go to this port, but there is a likelihood of, to do with weather conditions, to do with different things going on, that your port could be cancelled, okay? So
Out of the 5 cruises we did, 4 of them are changes in port.
Did they?
Yep.
Oh, right. Yeah, so there we are. 4 of them are changes in port.
Actually, no. So 3 of them. The fjords was okay, even though the previous trip,
Yeah.
the previous week, had a change.
Aurora had a change.
Aurora had a change, and the Sun Princess had a change.
Change, oh.
MSC had a change as well.
Oh, did they? What was that?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bruges.
What happened to Bruges?
We didn't get to Bruges.
Oh, no, we didn't. You're right. There we are.
For various reasons, weather, strikes at ports,
Yeah.
things. So
And in Santorini,
It
the
can't-
cable car wasn't
yeah,
ready, was
it
it?
can
So-
be disappointing. But if you got your heart set on a place,
Yeah,
you know, you may not get there on a cruise.
unfortunately.
So be flexible. So moving on,
Uh-huh.
the good thing about leaving a no-fly cruise is so much less hassle than flying.
Oh, gosh.
Flying's a
Definitely.
pain so much now. There's all the security, the waiting, the moving, making you stand for half an hour for no apparent reason.
So,
Shoes off, shoes on, this, that, everything
so
changes.
basically, you'll get an allocated time,
Yeah.
won't you, generally, on most cruise lines. And once you get there, we've been on in 10, 15 minutes.
And obviously there's no weight limit on the bags.
No, so you can take as many bags as you want. However, generally,
That's the same.
however,
The rooms can be quite small,
Small.
and don't just because you can take it more, don't.
yeah, usually we found we pack too much.
Yeah, we've come back with things we haven't worn.
Yeah. But, and especially if you don't like flying, definitely is the
Yeah,
way to
yeah.
go.
Leading on from that, this is one thing that was new to us, the disembarkation process.
Uh-huh.
Because you put your bags out the night before
Yes.
in the evening, and they're picked up, then you pick them up when you actually get off the ship the next morning.
Yeah.
So you need to keep stuff for that night, a change of clothes,
Yeah.
and it's toothbrush and stuff like that.
Unless you do
So,
self-disembarkation where you take your
So
own
you
stuff
need an
off.
overnight bag,
Yeah.
because
And a bag when you go on, really, as well, with your medication and computers and anything like that in, because you may not get your suitcase till later on that night. So you have to take your important
So-
documents in a bag. Then you go on and then you come off.
yeah, so a small bag for your overnight bag. Drinks packages we've mentioned, they can be really expensive, especially when you're doing a lot of ports and not even on the ship. But I think if you're doing transatlantic, when you spend a lot of sea days, I would get one if they were on offer.
Yes.
But like I said, we haven't had one yet. Leading on from that,
Usually have a drinks allowance.
yeah, a few cruise lines have a drinks allowance where they let you take on your own drink to drink in the cabin. Some don't. It varies from cruise line
so
to
you have
cruise
to
line.
check.
So
Usually
check.
at least a bottle of wine each.
Yeah.
If not a bottle of spirits.
So use your
Or-
drinks allowance if
Yeah.
the ship has one. And as we mentioned before, don't feel too pressurised to do the cruise lines organised
Organised
excursions. Like we said, they try to scare you. Said, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be left behind.
Top tip here, the sites we've used in the past and we've actually used or gone through, if you go to viator.com or Get Your Guide, right? If you go there, they're like an agency really. So you go to them, you can actually find out who they use for the individual tours. If you look carefully, and then go directly to the small tour company. So you can do it like that. But with Viator and Get Your Guide, often they do like, you don't have to pay until last minute, or they'll give you like a refund if so just have a look. But those two definitely would recommend via tour, get your guide, or going through in the tour, the local tour site especially as well. Okay, because they will give you some sort of guarantee.
Okay, some more things we've learned. Travel sickness pills. Get your travel sickness pills. They do work.
I like
Take them
Wells.
before you get sick.
Which ones do you use?
I like the ones that sound like
Sturgeon.
what's it called? Sturgeon. I don't know how you say it. The one you can't
Like a
pronounce.
fish.
No, Sturgeon. I don't know.
Sturgeon. It sounds like it's like a fish.
They do work,
It sounds like
although they make you really tired.
so I use Quells.
And especially having like a glass of wine with it. You're walking around like you're spaced out.
Americans like Dramamine or.
It's quite a nice feeling, to be honest.
Is it? Okay, well you sleep it all forever anyway. But I find Quells are less sleep.
Okay, something else about the ship. The shops and offers and treatments and things like that.
Yeah.
They often have offers on, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't rush, unless you specifically want something done and you need to book it up.
I found on certain ships they have offers on every day, don't they? And especially later on in the cruise.
Arvia had a really good offer doing the cruise on like perfumes and aftershaves.
Yeah, and if you go into the spa, have a little look around the spa on the first day for free. And they may enter you into a prize draw as well, that sort of thing. But often spas have offers on as well later on in the cruise. So sometimes it's not worth booking in advance unless you want your hair done specifically for a certain day or whatever. Yeah.
So those were like our recommendations, what we learned. Like I said, we've only been cruising a year, but within that year we've done five ships.
We're not experts.
3 cruise lines, 5 ships. So what we'd like, why have we done so many?
Value for money.
Value for money was the main thing. It's really good value for money.
We've gone on 5 cruises around the world, really, haven't we? For the cost, really, of one trip to America.
Yeah. It was to Las Vegas. That's probably why.
Well, we can spend much.
Another thing,
Vegas.
So much less hassle than flying.
Yeah.
And Mel hates flying. She does fly, but she hates the experience.
I don't like long haul flying for sure.
It gets you get to see a lot of places
and again,
in one trip. Like the last Med trip, we went to Sicily, Turkey, Greece, Parma. You get to see a lot of places
Spain and Italy.
on one trip.
I definitely would go back to the area around Naples again.
Entertainment, you get a lot of entertainment, a variety from classes and line dancing to shows.
Casinos on board.
Casinos, comedy. The variety of foods, even though some of the dining rooms aren't the best, a lot have a choice.
Yeah.
Especially on the larger ships now.
And Marcus doesn't eat a lot of red meat, so sometimes we've asked to see like the vegetarian and vegan menu as well, and that's been interesting. We find a lot of these ships do really good Indian food.
Yeah, the Indian food at P&O is really good. Not just the specialities Indian restaurants, the actual where they have it. Sometimes they have it at buffet night.
I found on the Sun Princess as well, the buffet there, I found really interesting. They had a lot of Asian food, but all different areas, like Mongolian food, and then they had Thai food. And so you can try things you would never normally try. Like I tried congee, didn't I, in one area, which is like a porridgey type thing. And that was interesting, like we never tried that. You couldn't go out where we live and go to a restaurant like that. So if you're adventurous, you can try different foods from all around the world.
Okay, then the pools. Some pools get busy, don't they? But on the bigger ships now, they've got a lot of smaller pools and hot tubs.
Can I say a confession here?
What?
We haven't actually been on a swimming pool on cruise ship yet.
We've been in the hot tubs.
Yeah, but not on the swimming pools. It's always been.
That's because they've been busy.
Yeah.
But we found a little spot, like on Arvia, they've got on deck. Was it deck 8? They had like.
A hot tub.
Hot tubs on the side.
Yeah, but not in the sun. And everyone wanted to be on the sun side, but it was so warm. We went to those when they were quieter. Hot tubs.
A lot of these modern ships now have got a variety of pool areas.
Yeah.
So you can find somewhere that isn't so busy.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, a lot of them have indoor pools, especially if you're doing Northern Europe. You can find.
Or they have an area where they have an outdoor pool, but it covers over as well.
And lastly, good night's sleep.
Oh, you never have to worry about that, do you?
Sleeping on a cruise ship is one of the most relaxing.
Amazing.
Yeah, weird dreams though. Really weird dreams.
That's probably all the drugs you're taking. Travel sickness tablets, that is.
Okay, we have to say what we didn't like
Our
about
negatives.
our negatives. There's not too many. Sometimes you don't spend enough time in the ports.
Yes.
Like in the Caribbean, we went to a first stop, or is it St Kitts or somewhere, or British Virgin Islands. We'd like to stay there a bit longer.
Yeah.
You get a taste of the places, don't you?
I could easily spend much longer around the area of Naples, Pompeii, Sorrento, that area. I could have spent longer.
So you get a taster. Sometimes you can always go back and have a proper holiday there, can't you?
Yeah.
The ports and small towns can get crowded.
Yes, they can.
Because everyone piles off, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people into a small town.
Especially around Norway, those small ports like Flam and, got quite crowded.
Tender ports, when you take the small boats from the ship, they can be a pain, long wait sometime.
Yeah, I mean, like when we went to Guernsey, so a lot of people go to Guernsey on a cruise ship and actually don't ever get to Guernsey because the conditions there are apparently quite sort of bad sometimes for little boats to go across.
Yeah, buffets and queues. I'm not a big fan of the buffet,
No.
to be honest. It always looks nicer than it actually is.
However,
And like a sea days, if you go like half-past out on a sea day, on a lot of ships they can be busy. And you can have lines, so...
But obviously these are big ocean cruises we're talking about, yeah. You can go on smaller ocean cruises, a lot more expensive. We can go on a river cruise, which we haven't done yet. So we're talking about the big sort of ocean cruises, yeah.
And nothing.
Put on weight.
You can put on weight.
I had to tell you
You have
this.
to make an effort to exercise, especially when you do transatlantic.
Well, yeah, and we were walking all the time.
In total, 9 sea days in total.
Do you remember when we went? I think it was when we were in Norway. No, not Norway. We went somewhere. We went to the gym, didn't we? Remember?
Yeah.
And I was fed up after about 10 minutes, so I said, "Oh, I'm just going to go back now." Ended up in the buffet, so having Indian food. So that was good.
So that's it. That's our dislikes.
We're on a
Not
diet
many.
now because
Yeah.
we're coming up to another cruise.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Well, that's it. Remember, it's a holiday. Don't take it too seriously. Have some fun. Make your own mind up.
And be a little bit flexible.
And be a bit flexible. And you'll have a good time. Well, what's happening over the next 12 months? Are we cruising anymore? Well, we have some cruises planned.
More than one.
I'm going to keep those for a later announcement, I think.
Is that why? Can you say about the next one?
No, keep it.
There we are.
We've actually counted.
Don't. No,
We've
no,
already
no,
got.
no, no,
We've
no,
already
no,
got.
No, family are listening.
Okay.
Don't say too much. We've got one planned for very soon.
We're in a few
Weeks.
4 weeks, I think.
Where do you think we're going to go? Where do you think? What cruise line do you think we're going to go on next? Put it below. See if you're right. I would say it's a small ship.
Don't come really close. Also, later this summer, we'll be launching our Patreon
Ooh,
to give you a bit more
insider knowledge.
insider knowledge, behind the scenes,
Yeah, outtakes. That'll be a fun one.
some
Oh, you're going
exclusive
to bleep me on that
exclusive content about our travels
one.
and what we're doing.
And we're still producing all our normal content as well, so you won't miss out. However, if you want a little bit more insider information,
A little bit extra.
what Mel says to him,
So that'll
when
be coming
cameras
soon.
are not on normally.
So that's it. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
That's a bye from me.
And a bye from me.
Bye.
Goodbye.